Does it have a light that comes on for recording? There's no light that's coming on. Or does it say record there?
It's supposed to say record. Oh, it's counting. Better. Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay, it's working.
Okay. Get a bigger lunch counter.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. And hello, and welcome to Fish Talk Television. I'm Charlie.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Joe.
And we're all about fishing for the rest of us. As you know, if you've been following along with us, we talk about fishing, about inshore South Jersey fishing specifically. And we hope that we've entertained you with all the shows we've had so far. We're all about really fishing inshore, aren't we, guys? Huh?
You bet we are.
Yeah, we're not offshore runners or canyon runners and so forth. And we're great fishermen. We're just not so hot on the catching part, which is probably... I usually do, especially on the not catching part. But with that, we hope to have a good show today. We'll keep it fun and informative for you. Guys, it's been a heck of a week with the nor'easter, huh?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that thing blew. They said down at our marina, they said they had gusts of 45 miles an hour.
Oh, I can believe it. The wind and the rain here were coming from the side. We thought it was raining from our garage.
Yeah, along with this high tide. It was really treacherous down at the shore.
Burlington got pretty bad, didn't they? Get pretty high?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, the king tide, or the highest fall spring tide that occurred last week, like Wednesday or Thursday, still had the effects of other high tides behind that coming. And when this nor'easter came on top of that, of course, blowing from the northeast, pushing water back in, it flooded the back bays quite a bit. In fact, Mark and I pulled our boat on Sunday, and when we drove down there, all the marshes were still flooded out. I mean, they were still underwater.
Very high tide.
Jeff from JR Marine down at Breezy Lee, Jeff and I were talking this week, and he was telling me that he had 8 to 10 inches of water inside of his building. And he's, at the high tide, he's about 4 foot above that. Mm-hmm. So, of course, he's right there in the canal, so he got blown in pretty good. That whole area, you can imagine, that area that stretched between the end of the Parkway and Wildwood Crest was pretty well underwater all the way. So, fishing-wise, was a great big zero. and less than fast, you're going after fast fish, I guess.
Well, you know, it's funny because we've had one storm or bad condition after another since about August.
We have, haven't we?
And, you know, think about it, in August you had Irene, that series of storms that came just after Irene, which meant all that fresh water coming down. September was every other 3 or 4 days. There was a small rainstorm, and many times it seemed like they were ending up on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
So, you know, from one storm to the next, we've had quite a bit of bad luck this fall, which has translated, at least for Mark and I, into some poor catches.
Well, did you go out before you pulled this last weekend?
Well, we didn't go out this. It was
too windy and...
Yeah, 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, even in the backwaters, on top of the marsh. There are whitecaps. So we decided that, although it wasn't too bad, you know, in temperature of the chop, but we just said, you know, we've fed enough bluefish a lot of expensive bait this fall. One more day of expensive bait, we decided not to do it.
Well, I was talking with some folks down in Cape May, and where our boat is in. We're going to leave our boat in until the end of November. So I hope you guys join us for get some line sighters. Well, at least looking for them anyway. But right now they're talking about pretty much nothing. There's some tog around the rocks on either side of the canal. There's some little snapper blues also hanging around the same area. But when you go up the bay, from Port Norris down, it's as quiet as a church mouse.
It's amazing.
There's nothing out there.
And from what we've seen, it seems like it's from Brigantine south that the fishing action slows down. Green Team North, they're catching some things. Again, from the Red Tower north on Long Beach Island, they seem to be picking things up both offshore and standing on the beach. In fact, our friend Joe Romano
caught last Friday, caught a 17-pound off the beach, and then the week prior to that, caught I believe, 43-pounder.
That was the second place in the Atlantic City tournament for, I guess, Long Beach Island.
Nice.
So he placed and got that second place. So congratulations, Joe.
Hey, Joe, fantastic. Wonderful.
But so they're there. You have to put your time in, and it seems like they're in the rough water, but not necessarily in some of the other areas where you expect to find it. Where Mark and I would do the top sod banks with spot or mullet. Bluefish have been there the last weeks that we were looking. It wasn't as if the water temperature wasn't there. The water temperatures are in the low 50s, so it's where it wants to be.
Cape May has been very, very disappointing this whole season. The flounder was good, I can't complain there. And we saw a little blast of blues, and for a couple of weeks, and they were gone. Other than that, there's really not been a whole lot to talk about. Everything has been black sea bass, if you will, and other things that you really don't want to bring home. Yeah. It's not that fun to catch, so have a great time, etc., but that's not the point.
There was a little run of croakers, there was a little run of the short weeks, but there was nothing sustained.
No.
I remember years ago, you, me, and your wife Lynn being out in Delaware Bay to the point that we never did any fishing because Lynn did nothing to pull off croaker. We haven't seen those days in a long time.
Well, speaking of that, we haven't seen this year peanut bunker.
Yeah.
It's very, very little bit of peanut bunker, and also off the shore. They're not reporting big pods of bunker, and that's main diet for striper.
Menhaden themselves, over the last century or so, was taking a major dive. And there was a show on that recently.
In fact, I heard a radio show. It was on WHYY 90.9 or 91. If you go on to their website, WHYY.org, you can find it. Look under Marty Moscawain and look under, I guess, they must have a search on there, Google for Menhaden. And she had about a 20 minute to a half an hour show with representatives from the fishing industry, from recreational fishermen, from the different organizations that were involved in the industry that focuses around Menhaden. And the show itself probably came back down to say that no matter what side you're on, Menhaden have really taken a dive. 100 years ago, there were factories up and down the coast, from Virginia, South Carolina, all the way up into Maine.
Oh, yeah.
And in the show, they described a book that came out recently describing the importance of Menhaden and how it was the commercial fishermen in the Gulf of Maine that stopped the commercial harvesting of Menhaden because they were actually hurting other fisheries by taking away that game fish. Very similar to what we just recently occurred and you see happening right now with the river herring and also the sea run herring. There's been a problem with them in the Georges Lake, Gulf of Maine area for a long time because the switch from Menhaden have moved over to other foraging fish.
Right.
And these numbers have dropped 90% in terms of the overall catch. But even with the 90% drop, the commercial catch of Menhaden was in the millions of metric tons. 50 million metric tons.
50 million.
What's most of it used for?
And it's mostly used for things that have other uses. They were saying lubricants, food, fertilizer, lipstick, and other types of...
These are things that they could use on products.
There's many other, but this so happens that these are cheaper and readily available. And right now, the only American commercial reducer of Menhaden is a group out of Virginia known as Omega. And Omega does all the East Coast fishing. They have a monopoly on it. And locally, our local fishing sources such as Lund's Fishery out of Cape May and a few others up and down the coast, they primarily do fishing for Menhaden for bait.
For bait, selling bait shops.
And they're doing it for our bait shops, but they're also selling it to bait shops up and down the coast. And why are they selling it in the Gulf of Maine? Because they overfish themselves out of herring that they used to use for lobster bait.
Oh.
So as they fish themselves out of these other baits, they're moving to herring. And we're slowly but surely going to decrease that last bit. So if you want to listen to a very well argumented, at the same time moderated show for about 20 minutes on Menhaden, which gives everybody's opinion very well, and it wasn't one-sided. But it gives you the opportunity to hear all sides of this. I recommend you go listen to that show. Marty Moscowain, last Wednesday or Thursday on Menhaden. So
HYY.
WHYY. Well worth the effort.
Yeah, well, very important little fish.
That's right. And one of the recreational fishers there that was representing, not necessarily the Recreational Fishing Association that what most of us know what Jim Donofrio was, but more of the beach fishermen who know that this fish is so important. He even brought up what Mark just said. He says, "Where are the peanut bunker?" He says, "That's one of our main staples in the backwater is netting peanut bunker."
Yeah.
Mark and I tried numerous times this year and got one.
We got one.
Actually, we got more stripers than we did.
Previous years, there were so many just bursting.
You could throw your cast net anywhere and get them.
Yeah.
This year, nothing.
Nothing.
And there was also, remember the years ago on the Dreamcatcher out in the Delaware Bay, seeing the acres and acres of pods of these coming by.
The water was white.
Yes.
And they're gone.
Yeah.
And again, it's because there have been combination of things. As even the fishermen, the commercial fishermen, have even acknowledged that there's local depletions.
Yes.
Where they overfish in the local area and it sort of depletes the local population. Where coast-wise it may be considered somewhat stable within the population we still have left.
Within a great area.
But locally they're depleting it. So it's well worth the effort to listen to this, and it's a eye-opener. For those of us that like stripers, that like bluefish, that like any other top predator when we fish, if the top predator doesn't have food, there won't be a top predator to fish for.
Well, that's a heck of a discussion to have all by itself, and perhaps as the year goes on, we'll have additional discussions about those. Because as the end of season comes upon us, we start talking about getting our gear ready and start to clean it up, oil it up, put up in the racks.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of us, we just put it away waiting for the spring and then go out with 2-year-old string on it and wonder why we're losing fish. Yeah, that's never happened. I'm sure it hasn't happened to you either.
Right? Well, don't worry about it. But even putting brand new string on, I lost 2 fish this year through snaps. So.
And for me, it doesn't matter. I can fish with an invisible string, and I would still catch the same number of fish. So that's a shame. But that's the way it is. Same with the boat, though. It's time to put the boats away. Now, just so happened, I'm going to stay until the end of November, and we hope that you guys join us down at Cape May and show me how to fish. So we think that the fish are still coming down. We're hoping for it because there's nothing in the bay yet, nothing up bay yet.
And you said the rips have been quiet.
The rips have been quiet. Everything has been quiet. So even though the bait shops are just talking about they have bait available because there's nothing to catch with the bait. So
we've been noticing this over the last several years that it's been later and later and later in the season before the stripers start their run.
Yes.
Well, and it winds up being into December and January where the best run for stripers.
I was talking with Harry down at xvid. I called him to make arrangements to stay in because they turn the water off and so forth before the freezes come. And he says quite a number of guys are staying in because there's been nothing to catch. There's been no stories, no discussions. You sit around the fuel dock and all you're doing is fueling your boat. I mean, there's not much to talk about. So a number of guys are staying in this year later, as they did last year.
Well, I think we're seeing this, Mark, because the population is being thinned out. We're taking a lot of larger fish, which really should be releasing. We should only be keeping the smaller ones, Anything over 36 inches is a breeding female.
Sure.
So if you can keep 1 or 2 of those, but you take too many and all of a sudden you're taking away millions of eggs. So that's one issue. Another issue is that as the population thins, you also get this reduction in number of population because of the lack of food. And what you used to have was a larger population that would move down. Now you have a smaller fish group that it may be moving down, but it's either moving down sparsely or what used to be the younger fish moving down earlier, you're now only getting this one flush coming through. So it's a combination of things that are happening.
Well, it's certainly not good. And unfortunately, I think unless we address it as a whole, not just from a recreation point of view, not just a commercial point of view, but as a whole, I'm afraid that it won't be long that our entire fishery will collapse.
Well, it all starts, it's a pyramid.
Yes.
And the pyramid is built from a wide, large base.
Yep.
And our base is being eroded because of lipstick.
There you go. Well, with that, I don't know, that's about as clear as a statement that I've ever heard. So I guess the fact is we won't wear lipstick. Damn it.
No more.
No more lipstick. I refuse.
But you're talking
No
about
mascara, but no lipstick.
putting the boat away. Mark and I washed ours up and got it away. And you're also talking about your equipment. One thing you do want to do is, if you haven't done it, if you're putting your equipment away for the season, is wash it up in the fall. Rods and reels, soap and water, take off the grit around, especially on the eyelets, and make sure you get all the salt and everything else off. Also on your lures and your hooks. If you have hooks that are used, I would chuck them, because if they're in the salt water a couple times, by next spring they'll be no good.
Yeah.
But on the treble hooks on your other lures of your stretch 25s or whatever else you have out there, your top lures or poppers, you want to wash them off right now to make sure that you actually stop any wintertime corrosion.
Yeah.
And something I found is, if you dip them in, believe it or not, dip them in something a little acidic that takes away...
like what?
Mullica River water. Or a little vinegar or something like that.
Yeah.
That literally will harden the outside of that metal and put a little patina on it.
Yeah. That does help.
That helps a little bit over the winter time, so something like that may
Makes for a lousy salad, but... Well, that's true. We want to take care of that stuff. And you guys out there in the audience, you guys know that, but it's always good to be reminded, huh? Now's the time to start doing that. Think about it. This is probably going to be one of our few live shows as we start to head into winter. The reason being, of course, there's nothing to talk about all the fish. So we will have some live shows that we'll put together for you. It'll be on special topics, so maybe we'll go out to site, we'll meet with somebody, and we'll take our cameras with us and have some on-site visits during the winter to present you with some interesting shows that way.
So much like On Assignment.
Yeah, On Assignment with Larry Moe and Jack, or Larry Moe and Curly, as the case might be. Guess who's Curly, huh? So, but what we will do also is to produce some how-to videos along with where-tos, talking about where to go for this or where to go for that. And then, of course, there'll be a lot of gnashing of teeth and crying until spring. So with that, guys, it's probably time to call it end of the show today and head back to the dock and let these people get back to what they're supposed to be doing. If you're working, enjoy the show. It's a lot more fun. If not, we appreciate you getting back to us. Let us know what you think about our show. Send us pictures, photographs, whatever you like, and we'll post them up on the website. With that, guys, time to call it a day. For that, I'm Charlie.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Joe.
For Fish Talk Television, goodbye, and keep your eyes in the water.
Okay. 17 minutes.
And we didn't
continue to record.
I said we didn't run out.